Hello, my name is Rick McNabb. Welcome to this video class on professional outdoor lighting, sponsored by Heritage Landscape Supply Group and its family of companies. The purpose of this class is to introduce you to professional outdoor lighting and talk about how lighting can be a new service offering for your business, which is going to add more revenue with great margins, lots of referrals, and happy customers. You know, it's great to drive up to a property at night like this one, and you see the residence lit up nicely from left to right, from top to bottom, the hardscape, the water feature, the landscaping, the trees, all lit nicely. This adds so much to your client's experience. You've built them a beautiful landscape that they can view in the daytime and enjoy in the daytime, but adding professional outdoor lighting just extends that beauty into the evening and adds more value to your business for your client. But you know, professional outdoor lighting is not limited only to residential, but also you can install professional outdoor lighting on commercial properties as well. There's plenty of LED products out there today where we can light up 3 to 4 story buildings, tall trees, hardscape areas, landscaped areas, whether it be a retail center, professional building, an industrial complex, doesn't really matter. So we can do professional outdoor lighting on residential and commercial properties as well. So we'll break our topic today into a few sections. We'll talk about how to get into the lighting business. We'll talk about how everything fits together. We'll talk about how to specify, design, install, and adjust the system as needed. We'll discuss how to sell and service the system, how to charge for it. We'll discuss the profit margins you could expect and the value of the professional outdoor lighting system to your client. And we'll also talk about what mistakes to avoid to save you from having trouble later on. So let's jump right into a project. Let me kind of tease this out for you a little bit. Let's imagine you come up to this property, which is a typical, probably a 3 to 4 bedroom house, 2.5 bath, probably 3,000 square feet, 2-story home. Beautiful sod lawn with landscaping and trees. Beautiful texture from the brick and stone in the front of the house. And you might ask yourself the question, how would you light up this property? And that's one of the things that's going to happen to you when you first go out to a project to do your first job. You've got to ask yourself, how am I going to light up this property? So let me show you just off the bat here, just a few basic principles on how you would light a home like this. So you can see here, we've plotted some fixtures and their illumination on this property. And we've got some uplights on the left and right side of the house. We've got some uplights on the vertical lines next to the windows. We've got some wash lights under the windows and on some of the plant material. We've got path lights on the entryway as you go up to the house's front door. And we've got a down light shining down from the top of the garage down to the driveway. So this is your basic 4 types of lighting you would use on a typical residence like this. Up lighting, wash lighting, path lighting, and down lighting. Now this slide here shows you the construction of those fixtures and how it's all put together in the ground. So if we're looking from left to right, you see a transformer plugged into a GFCI outlet. Then we have, out of that transformer, we have wire going to the fixtures all the way across the front yard. We've got some uplights there. We've got some wash lights and some path lights. And you'll notice at the very right of the slide, we're showing a voltmeter. And you would use that voltmeter to test your voltage to make sure that the last fixture has at least 11 volts. And also noticed on the left-hand side of the diagram here in the slide that the maximum voltage is 15 volts. So when you construct your system and put all the wire in the ground and your fixtures on the wire using a professional waterproof permanent connector, you should have no more than 15 volts at the first light and no less than 11 volts at the last light. So this is a great image of how your crew might install a system and how they would put it together during the installation process. So we'll kind of break down all the detail of how to accomplish this in 5 sections. We'll talk about the equipment. We'll talk about how to sell value to our client. We'll discuss how to specify and design the right fixtures on your project. We'll discuss the details on how to make the system work properly. And we'll talk about the steps that go into the installation process. So let's start with the equipment. There's 6 components that go into a professional outdoor lighting system. There's the transformer, the wire connectors, the light fixtures, the lamps or diodes. These are your LEDs and your accessories. So we can start off by talking about the transformers first. A transformer does exactly what the word says. It transforms. So this control device, it transforms 115 volts from your GFCI outlet to 15 volts. It goes out to the field. And because light fixtures and LEDs are measured in wattage consumption, a unit of watts, there's 150 watt transformers available, some 200 watt transformers available, and 300 watt transformers that are available for common use in a typical professional outdoor lighting system. For larger systems, manufacturers actually make 600 watt, 900 watt, and 1200 watt transformers as well. But because LED uses such little wattage, usually the 150 watt, 200 and 300 watt transformers are the most common. And when it comes to professional lighting transformers for professional outdoor lighting, there's basically 4 types of transformers. There's the eco or the economy versions that are made for LED. There are the standard versions made for LED. There's zonable transformers, where you can have up to 3 zones of lights for your yard that are made for LED. And there's the ZDC, the transformer controller that does zoning, dimming, and color. Also notice, if you would, the notation at the bottom of this slide. These transformers are pro-designed for LED, which means they're UL listed. UL is United Laboratories, and the listing is 1838. So professional LED transformers are UL listed, UL 1838 for professional use. The next component we'll talk about is the switching devices that go in your transformer. Available are analog timers, photo cells, Wi-Fi timer, Bluetooth timer, cloud-based communications, and dimmers. And if you'll take a look at the picture in the top right of your screen here, you'll see a analog timer plugged into this transformer. And so the great thing about modern day professional outdoor lighting transformers is they're what we call plug and play. So when you purchase them and take them out of the box, most of them do not come with a timing device. That gives you the ability to choose the timing device you want. So you might choose a timer, you might choose a photo cell, you might choose a Wi-Fi timer, or a Bluetooth timer, or a cloud-based timer, or even a dimmer that goes downstream on the fixtures. So by being able to choose the timing device you want, you can choose the timing and switching device that meets your client's needs the best. One more advantage to the plug and play features is, let's say that someday, for instance, the timer wears out. Well, if the timer wears out, you just take it out, discard it, purchase a new timer, plug it in the transformer that's already on the wall, and it's a quick repair and a quick service call for your client to get them back up and running. The next component is wire. Wire comes in different sizes. The smallest wire is 18 gauge, the largest wire is 8 gauge. And you can see that the sizes are based on wattage capacity and amperage capacity. So your 18 gauge will handle up to 96 watts of fixtures. Your 8 gauge will handle 84 watts of fixtures in value. But 12 gauge is the most common. And also notice that wire for professional outdoor lighting comes in black, brown, and white. Black is the most common that goes in the ground, but sometimes going up a tree, maybe up a trellis or behind the gutter, you might want a brown or white wire to use. help it camouflage better in your system. Conduit is very important. You want to use conduit at the transformer. So as you bring your wiring circuits or your wiring runs in from the field, and by the way, you might have 3 or 4 wiring runs. It might not just be just one. You might have one wire for the front yard on the right side. You might have a wire for the front yard on the left side. So as you bring those wires to the transformer, you would use a piece of conduit to take the wire up to the transformer and hook it up. And please note that conduit is not needed out in the field where the wire is in the yard. Professional outdoor lighting wire is direct burial. So the only place you need conduit is at the transformer. And we certainly recommend you use a Schedule 40 gray PVC conduit, which is standard for electrical devices. We wouldn't recommend you use a irrigation pipe like a PVC Class 200 or even a PVC white Schedule 40. So definitely gray PVC Schedule 40 conduit is recommended to bring the wire up into the transformer at the point of connection. The next component is wire connectors. There's several types in the market. Some are better than others. Some are permanent, some are not permanent. So the ones on the left-hand side of this screen here, the ones on the top are a crimp style connector. The ones are on the bottom are a tube type connector. Both of these are considered to be quality, waterproof, permanent connectors. We don't recommend the twist-on connectors because those certainly are meant for irrigation, and they're usually in a valve box and atmosphere, and they're not usually direct buried. So we don't recommend a twist-on connector for professional outdoor lighting. As we get into the fixtures, the first type of fixture is an uplight. Uplights do exactly what the name says. They shoot light upward vertically. They range from 4 to 22 watts. So a 4-watt would be good for a 1-story house. A 22-watt would be great for a 60-foot tree. So there's different wattages in between for different applications. Your lumens output ranges from 150 lumens to 2,000 lumens. So the more wattage you have on a fixture, the brighter it's going to be. And of course, uplights come in different beam spreads. You can have a very narrow beam spread of 15 degrees up to a very wide beam spread of like 120 degrees. But the most common beam spread that usually comes with the fixture is a 35 to 38 degree beam spread, which is very common. So uplights go on the vertical lines of the house. They go on trees and vertical structures to shoot light upward. The next fixture we'll talk about is wash lights. Wash lights also shoot light upward, but not very far. Wash lights are intended to shoot the light horizontally. So they're intended for fences and shorter walls. And a great place to put a wash light is underneath the window in front of the house. Their lumens range from about 150 lumens to 400 on 2 watts to 4 watts. And their beam spreads are 120 degrees up to 180 degrees. So wash lights are a well-kept secret, but their uses are many. And my favorite place to put them is underneath the window, underneath each of the windows on the front of the house. Path lights are for your pathways. Anytime you have a high traffic area where people are walking in the front yard or the backyard, you definitely want to have path lights to illuminate that area. And I would strongly suggest that when you're doing a lighting consultation that you give your customer a choice of which path light they want. You might keep 3 in your vehicle, 3 path lights you like, and then give them a choice of one of those 3. And when they'll choose the one they like the best, and that'll kind of get them involved in the consultation and selling process. Downlights are great for walkways and accents. For downlights, the wattage ratings are from 4 to 22 watts. Lumens about 150 to 2,000. Downlights from a tree should be installed at least 20 foot up in the tree to get a nice illumination of light on the ground. Maybe you've heard of moonlighting. Well, moonlighting is downlighting. So if one of your clients asks you to install moonlighting, they're really asking you to install a downlight. So just know that downlights are a great way to accent features. You can put them in trees, you can put them on structures, and some are mounted with mounting brackets. Some will hang with a hook, but downlights are always a great effect, and it adds more drama to your professional outdoor lighting system. Hardscape lights are also available. So every hardscape project needs light, whether it be a wall light, a barbecue light, a ledge light, a paver light, what have you. There's all kinds of light fixtures available for your hardscape areas as well. Every pond, every water feature needs lights. You definitely want to fill that pond with light by putting submersible fixtures in the water. You want to have fountains lit up, waterfalls and streams are all great places to have professional outdoor lighting. So now that we've covered the fixture types and what their purposes are, let's talk about the lamps that go into the uplights and downlights. The most standard type of lamp that goes in uplights and downlights is your MR16 drop-in LED lamp. And there's 6 types of these lamps that are available on the market. There's your economy version, which is your kind of entry-level type lamp. There's your standard version, which a little bit better quality and has probably a better warranty. There's your potted and your potted ZD. Potted lamps, the word potted means that they've been injected with a potting material, and that potting material has sealed all the LED circuitry inside the lamp to protect it from moisture, atmosphere, and debris. MR16 drop-in lamps also come in an adjustable version where you turn a dial on top, it will change the beam angle and the focus. And lastly, there are MR16 drop-in lamps available in color that work off a Bluetooth app from your telephone, and some of them work on Wi-Fi, but you can take that lamp and create colors and change the colors and add themes of color on your professional outdoor lighting system. And notice on the picture there, the large picture in the center, these MR16 lamps, we call them drop-in because you drop them in the fixture. You actually install them in the fixture yourself. Some fixtures come with the lamp pre-installed, but many times you might purchase the fixture separate and then choose the lamp that you would want to install in it, which means you would drop it into the fixture separately. Drop-in LED lamps are also available for path lights. And there's basically 3 types of lamps for path lights. There's bi-pin LED lamps, there's wedge LED lamps, and there's color bi-pin LED lamps. Bi-pin lamps fit in fixtures that have a bi-pin base. Wedge lamps fit in a fixture that has a wedge base. And your color bi-pin also fits in fixtures that have a bi-pin base. Some fixtures come from the factory where they were manufactured with the LED circuit board pre-installed, with the circuits and the LED diodes already pre-installed on the circuit board. So when these are pre-installed in the fixture, we call this integrated. So these type of fixtures are usually more specification grade, more architectural grade, specific to a particular beam spread, or lumens or wattage consumption output. Most lamps are available in different color temperatures. So here you see the basic 2 types of color temperatures that are available for professional outdoor lighting. The first on the left is called warm white. The second on the right is called cool white. Warm white, the color temperature ranges from 2700 to 2900 Kelvin. Cool white, the color temperature ranges from 2900 to about 3000 Kelvin. Those are your 2 standard Kelvin color temperatures when it comes to professional outdoor lighting. So the one on the left, the warm white, might be better on earth tones like brown brick homes or red brick homes, whereas the cool white might be better on more modern colored homes like white or gray stucco or brick. Also available is RGBW. RGBW stands for red, green, blue, and white technology. So we're able to create different colors from a single light source by using RGBW. So drop-in MR16s and drop-in bipin lamps are available with RGBW features that work on Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and the cloud using an app, and also integrated RGBW fixtures are available on systems that use hardwire, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and the cloud that are also operated on an app or direct control from the ZDC controller. So we've covered some of the fixtures and lamps. Let's talk about how to sell value to your client. It's very important to get your client involved in the sales process and the design process as you begin to create the vision for lighting up their property. But one of the best ways, and actually I would say one of the required ways to get your customer involved in the process, is for you as the contractor to show enthusiasm. You want to show enthusiasm about the features of your client's property. And so as you get excited about the features of their property, they'll see your enthusiasm and they'll also begin to get excited and enthusiastic about how you're going to light the features at their home. People buy landscape lighting for 3 reasons. Usually to feel good. We want that light to be surrounding us. It creates certain moods, certain vibes, certain environments that make us feel great. So we buy lighting to feel good. We also buy lighting to solve a problem. Maybe we just feel like some areas are too dark. Maybe the side of the house, maybe the utility area, the front yard, the front entryway. We want to have light there to solve problems. And the third reason we buy lighting is to enhance our pride in lifestyle. We might want to entertain. We might want to show our house off from the front of the street. But the fact is, everyone needs light. So just recognize that your customers will buy light from you because they want to feel good, they want to solve problems, and it enhances their pride and their lifestyle in their home. Now, there are some practical benefits to owning a professional outdoor lighting system. Some of those are safety, security, increased home value, an additional view of the landscape, more time to enjoy their home. Those are some of the practical needs that are met with professional outdoor lighting. But some of the needs that we have by owning a system would be ambiance, serenity, pride, value, and quality. These are the emotional needs that are met by installing a professional outdoor lighting system. Let's talk about some of those emotional needs, if we will. Ambiance is an elevated feeling or mood associated with a person, place, or thing, an encompassing environment or atmosphere. Serenity is a condition of expanse, sea, sky, or light, tranquil, clear, cloudless, untroubled, free of storms and unpleasant change, shining bright and steady, utter calm and quietude, peaceful. Pride is the state of being proud, inordinate self-esteem, conceit, justifiable self-respect, delight arising from some possession, the best and most impressive. Value is usefulness, high importance, high opinion, deserved regard. And lastly, quality. Quality is the standard of something as measured against other things of a similar kind, the degree of excellence of something. So these are the emotional needs that are met for your client when you install a professional outdoor lighting system on their property. I mean, we all like to have an elevated feeling or mood. We all want to feel like things they're clear and untroubled and cloudless and pleasant. We all have a sense of pride in our property. We all want to have value. We want to be able to use our property and have it have a high value of high importance and high opinion. And of course, we want quality. We want to have something that is excellent. So ambiance, serenity, pride, value, and quality, these are the emotional needs that are met for your client when you install a professional outdoor lighting system at their home. So how do you sell lights? Is it difficult? Is it easy? Is it hard? Those are good questions. But I'm going to help you maybe answer that question quickly by giving you a tip on how, as a contractor, you can sell lights to your clients and have more closing rates on your lighting bids and estimates. And that tip is simply to use one common statement that shows your enthusiasm about your customer's property. And that statement is, that would look great with some light on it. Let me say it again. That would look great with some light on it. So imagine you go to this property that you see in the backdrop of this slide here, and you begin to notice the features of this particular house. We got beautiful trees, we have beautiful landscaping, we have beautiful archways on the house, we have beautiful columns on the front of the house. So if you were to bring some of these features to your client's attention, and you simply brought up the topic and said, I just love the trees you have on the four corners of the driveway. Well, more than likely, your homeowner enjoys his trees as well. So he might say something like, yeah, we planted those last year and they've just grown great and we really, really enjoy those trees. So in response, you would say, sir or ma'am, those trees will look great with some light on them. And guess what? Your client is going to agree with that statement. Let's say you discuss the columns on the front of the house, and you made a comment to them. You said, I think those columns are a beautiful. They make the beautiful entrance of your house just pop. And your homeowner might say something like, we like those too. Those weren't in the original plan, but we added those later, and we just love them. They're beautiful. And then in response, you would say, those entryway columns would look great with some light on them. And guess what? Your client is going to agree again. So I hope you can see in this analogy, this example, that if you simply focus on the features of your customer's property that they already like, and you say, those will look great with some light on them, your customer will agree with that, and he starts wondering how you would light those up. And this gives you an opportunity to begin to explain that you would use uplights on the tree, you would use uplights on the columns and so forth. You put path lights on the entryway, you'd put wash lights on the plant material. And now your customer begins to see the vision because you've pointed out that all these spaces on his property would look great with lights. So I'll tell you what, practice saying this statement with me right now if you would. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. That would look great with some light on it. All right, try it one more time. That would look great with some light on it. All right, so take a moment as you have time here and there and practice saying this statement. So next time you have an opportunity to talk about how you're going to light up your client's property, you can say, that would look great with some light on it. So section 3, let's talk about the specification and design. This is the area we talk about which fixture goes where, what type of lighting we're going to employ, what our design might look like. This is all about putting the right fixture on the right target to get the right result. So the first type of lighting we'll talk about is grazing. Grazing is done with an uplight. So in this image here, you can see that we have light going up the vertical spaces on the home, on the side of each window. The uplight is spaced it's placed about 12 inches from the foundation of the house and shooting straight up. So this is how we accomplish the type of lighting called grazing with uplights. The second type of lighting is wall washing. We do wall washing with wash lights. So you definitely want to put a wash light under every single window of the house, tuck it in nice and tight, about 12 inches from the foundation, and aim it so it gets that brick or stone area under the window sill, and that'll take all the darkness away behind the shrubbery that most of these homes have in front of the windows. The third type is path lighting. So every path light, every path needs a path light, and to get continuous light on a pathway, you need to put the path lights no more than 10 foot apart. If you put them more than 10 foot apart, the light will kind of fade in and out too much on the path. But by putting them 10 foot apart or maybe a little bit less, you have continuous light on those pathways. Shadowing is a great technique when you take an uplight or a wash light and you place it in front of the plant material and shine onto the plant material. It'll create a nice shadow on the wall or whatever that backdrop is, and shadowing adds a really nice dramatic effect to your design. Silhouetting is where we take a wash light or uplight and we put the fixture behind the plant material. And so we would light up the wall behind the tree, for instance, and now that tree becomes silhouetted, also creating a nice dramatic effect. Scalloping is another type of lighting that we can do on a residence or a commercial property. And scalloping is basically, instead of shooting lights up, we're shooting lights downward from the eave of the house. This might take a little bit more detail on the installation process, but it is a great way to light up the property. Highlighting is simply taking a group of trees or some other type of target, and we're going to light that target from multiple directions so that we're actually filling the entire space, filling the entire target with light, so that no matter where we stand or no matter what our viewing point is, we see the object filled with light. So this would take 2 or 3 fixtures from different directions to accomplish this type of lighting, which is called highlighting. Spotting is putting a light up in a tree or up on a structure and shooting that light downward and spotting a particular feature of the property. It might be some ground cover, it might be some color in the landscape, it might be a bench or sitting area, but spotting is done with downlighting from above to bring a certain feature of the property into focus. So now that we've covered some of the lighting techniques, let's talk about how to actually make a system work. So this section is going to be on the detail that goes into the construction and the installation, some of the things concerning wattage and voltage and what components you use to make sure the system is going to work for a lifetime. So if we take a typical project like this, and we're looking at a front yard on this home, we specified 13 fixtures on this property to illuminate the front of the house. And some of the fixtures are 5 watt, some fixtures are 6 watt. I see the path lights here are 3 watt. So each of the fixtures may have a different wattage consumption. So by adding all these up, we can come up with the total number of watts for this project. And so you can see here that on this particular job, we have a total of 63 watts. So knowing the total wattage of the project helps us choose the transformer. So since professional outdoor lighting transformers start in a 150 watt capacity, then I could put these 63 watts of fixtures on one 150 watt transformer. So once I decide that I'm going to use a 150 watt transformer on my 13 fixtures, I have to think about what my goal is, because you can see here in this diagram, I've got fixtures going all the way across the front of the house. I'm going to have, looks like about 100 something foot of wire running from the transformer to all the fixtures. So to make this system work properly, I've got to accomplish a goal. And to me, this is probably one of the most important goals on ensuring that this professional outdoor lighting system I'm installing will definitely last a lifetime. And that goal is to have between 11 to 15 volts at every fixture. All LED lights for landscape, all LED lights for professional outdoor lighting will work well if they have 11 to 15 volts. So our goal is to make sure that all the fixtures have that range, 11 to 15 volts. Now, the professional outdoor lighting transformers in the market put out a maximum of 15 volts, which what that means is that there will never be more than 15 volts on any of the fixtures. So you can be confident that if you're using a UL 1838 professional outdoor lighting transformer, that first light will have no more than 15 volts. But if you notice here, as electricity travels down that wire from the first fixture down to the last, we have a problem with voltage drop. Voltage drop happens no matter what you do with the system. There's no way you can stop voltage drop. Now we can manage voltage drop, but we're definitely going to lose voltage from the transformer to that last fixture. So you can see in this example, we have 15 volts to the first light, 14.5 at the second, 13.6 at the fourth, 12.5 about a little more than halfway down, and that last fixture on our run has 11.3. So because we have at least 11 volts at that last fixture, this circuit is fine. No more than 15 at the first light and at least 11 at the last light. So when you install your system, you want to take your voltmeter and check the last fixture on that wiring run or that wiring circuit to make sure it has at least 11 volts. Now, there's a problem that could be created if you don't do this. Let's say I had more than 15 volts at my fixtures. Well, many of the LED circuit boards that drive these fixtures, they're not made to operate at over 15 volts. In the same way, let's say I had less than 11 volts on my fixtures. Well, some LED fixtures are not designed to operate at less than 11 volts. So if you have less than 11 volts or more than 15, there's certainly a possibility that that LED is going to fail because it wasn't designed and engineered to operate outside that voltage range. So just know that LEDs, no matter what type you use in the marketplace today, if they're low voltage LEDs for professional outdoor lighting, they're all going to work from 11 to 15 volts. So that's where we need to make sure that they operate at 11 to 15 volts. So the way we manage voltage drop, there's really only 3 things we can do to help manage voltage drop. In other words, don't make your wire runs too long. There's a limit to how far you can go with the wire. So make sure that they're not too long. Don't put too many watts on a cable run. Or you could even say don't put too many fixtures on a cable run. There's a limit to how many fixtures you can have, which is a corresponding wattage maximum you can have on a wire run. And number 3, don't use wire that's too small. You always want to be sure you use the right size wire for your length of run and your wattage consumption on that wire. Wire sizing depends on the distance of the wire and the wattage consumption on the wire. So you might ask yourself, well, how do I know how far I can go with the wire? How do I know how many fixtures or watts I can put on a particular wire? Well, those are great questions, and those questions are answered with our Heritage Professional Outdoor Lighting LED wire gauge chart. This LED wire gauge chart was created and designed for you to determine what size wire you need for a particular professional outdoor lighting wire run or circuit. So let's talk about how to use this chart. Let me just throw out some numbers. Let's say I've got 160 feet of wire, and I'm going to use 50 watts. Well, if I go over here to the left side, I go to 160 feet, and I go to 50 watts here. This chart says that I can use, or I should use, 12 gauge wire. So that's how you would know. You would just measure how long the wire is, and go to how many watts you're going to put on that wire, and the corresponding axis is the size wire you would use. Let's step it up a little bit. Let's step it up a little bit. Let's say I'm going 200 feet with 80 watts. So if I follow the chart again, my feet and watts axis, if I go to 200 feet and go to 80 watts, oh, this chart tells me I should use 8 gauge. So no matter what the length of run of your wire, and no matter how many watts you're putting on the wire within reason, this chart will tell you what size wire to use on that particular wire run or circuit. So using the wire chart, using it correctly, will help ensure that you have 11 to 15 volts at every fixture. So that's what this wiring chart is designed to do, is to help you make the right decision on what size wire to install to accomplish that goal, which makes the system last a lifetime. So now we talked about what size wire to use. Let's talk about actually how to run the wire and how to install the wire. And we call this cabling. So you see a typical property here. We have a front and backyard we're going to light up. And the first thing to do is find the power source. Find that GFCI outlet. And usually the power source is on the side of the house, either by the air conditioning unit or by the pool equipment. If you can't find a GFCI outlet on the house, you might have to have an electrician come and install one for your professional outdoor lighting system. But usually you'll find one near the AC unit or by the pool equipment. So when you're installing a front and backyard, you definitely want to separate the front and backyard. We want to have the front yard system be on its own timing schedule for the lighting, and we want the backyard to be on its own timing schedule for the lighting. And this will let that homeowner use those two spaces that fits his lifestyle, his or her lifestyle the best. So let me kind of give you a heads up on what can happen if you didn't split the front and backyard. Let's say you put the whole system, front and backyard, on one transformer with one timing device. What that means is that if the front yard is on, the backyard is on. If the front yard is off, the backyard is off. But let's say that I want to turn my backyard off at 11 p.m. But maybe I have a family member that works late and comes home at 1 a.m. The challenge here is that I can't turn my backyard off at 11 because I have to leave my front yard on so my family member can get home safely late at night. So the best thing to do is to separate this into two systems. So I can program my backyard to turn off at 11, and I can program my front yard to run all night if I so desire. So if we're using the standard professional lighting transformers, we could install two transformers to accomplish this goal. I'd have one transformer with its own timing device for the front yard. I'd have a second transformer with its own timing device for the backyard. So by having two transformers, I can have two separate systems, front and back, which I can program separately and have the backyard turn off at 11 p.m. I can have the front yard run all night if I so desire. So separating the front and backyards is a great way to help your client enjoy their professional outdoor lighting system even more. Now, with today's modern LED zoning transformers, I can use one transformer because I can have the front yard be a zone, and from the same transformer, I can have the backyard be a zone. So I can program the front yard zone to run all night. I can program the backyard zone to go off at 11 p.m. So zonable transformers are a great option when you're doing a front and backyard system, so you can control the two spaces separately, which helps your client enjoy the system even more. So now that we talked about how to wire the system, how to zone the system, let's talk about different methods of actually wiring the lights to the wire. So in this diagram, this is a method called straight through wiring. Sometimes this is called daisy chaining. But we have the transformer plugged in the wall in the GFCI outlet. We have a wire coming out of the transformer going to each light from first to last in a linear fashion. This is a very common method of wiring called the straight through wiring method. Another method is called the T method. In this example, we have, again, the transformer plugged into the GFCI outlet. The wire comes out of the transformer and goes to the center of your wire run, or the center of your lighting circuit. And some lights are fed to the right, some lights are fed to the left from that center point. The advantage of this type of wiring method is that you can reduce the voltage drop to the fixtures by around 50%, because half your wattage consumption is going one direction and half your wattage consumption is going a different direction. So this is a great method to use, and this is also very useful for larger systems like an estate property or even a commercial professional outdoor lighting system. The third method is called the hub. So again, we have the transformer plugged into the wall. We have a wire from the transformer going this time to a central location called a hub. And from the hub, we have one wire going to each fixture. The advantage of this type of wiring method is that it allows us to get the voltage to each fixture to be almost the same. Because if you look at it closely, you'll see that there's the same length of wire from the transformer all the way to each fixture. So the wire coming from the transformer might be 100 feet, and each wire to the fixture is 25 feet. So that's each fixture has 125 feet of wire from the transformer to the fixture itself, which allows us to dial in that voltage of the fixture very close to all the fixtures being the same. But again, the most common method and probably the easiest to install and explain is a straight through wiring method or daisy chain. So this would probably be used mostly when you're doing residential type professional outdoor lighting systems. All right, let's talk about the installation process. The installation process involves 10 steps. And if your crews will follow this process, it'll speed up the installation and it'll make your crews work more efficiently together. Let's go through the 10 steps one at a time. Step 1, place the lamps and lights where they go before you take them out of the box. Because when they're in the box, you can identify them. You know that this is an uplight that's 5 watt, 38 degree. This is a path light that's 3 watt and so forth. So you can identify the fixtures in the box and go place them in the landscape where they're going to be installed. Let's say the downside to not doing that. Let's say your crew took all the fixtures out of the box before they got to the job. So when they get to the job, they can't tell which fixture is which because they all look very similar. So it's hard to tell which uplight is the 4 watt or which uplight is the 5 watt or the 6 watt. So it just slows down the whole process when everyone's trying to figure out what fixture they have in their hand. But leave those in the box, identify them first, put them where they go, and that'll definitely save you some time. Step 2, determine the wire path and dig the trenches. Cross under your hardscape and your sidewalks. And so when I talk about digging trenches, it's just a V in the sod or in the mulch, about 4 inches deep. So push your wire down inside that V. You don't need to dig a large trench like you would for landscape irrigation. And just tunnel underneath your hardscape, underneath your sidewalks, and make the wire path easy to follow. Step 3, use the wire gauge chart to be sure you are using the right size wire. So yeah, take out your wire gauge chart that you've made a copy of and take a look at the property, measure with your measuring wheel how far your wire run is, figure out how many watts are on that cable or on that wire run, and use the wire chart to make sure you're using the right size cable for that circuit. And then install the wire, run that wire and terminate it at the transformer. So from the last light on every circuit, you're going to bring your wire to the transformer and you're going to terminate it right there at the transformer. So at that point, take the lights out of the box and connect them to the wire using a quality, waterproof, permanent wire connector. Step 6, hang the transformer on the wall, close to your 115 volt GFCI outlet. And I'd recommend you don't put it too low, don't put it too high, put it at about chest height so that it's easy to see. You can get in there and change the timers, you can do your programming, what have you. But make sure it's visible so that you have easy access to for the homeowner and yourself to get in there and to program the transformer. Step 7, connect the wires to the transformer, turn it on, and make sure all the lights work. So yeah, by now you've got everything hooked up, you've got the transformer plugged in, you've turned it on, And at this point, you've done all your wire connections, so the fixtures are connected. So you should be able to walk around the property and make sure that every fixture is illuminated. And so I recommend you let the system run for about 15 or 20 minutes to make sure all the lights stay on. Sometimes it is possible if you've got a wire cross somewhere on one of the connections, there might be a slow short, and over a period of time, that circuit breaker in the transformer might trip. So give it about 15 to 20 minutes, make sure nothing trips. And that kind of guarantees all your connectors have been done properly. Step 8, check the voltage at the fixture, the very last fixture, on each wire run to be sure it has at least 11 volts. So go and find the last fixture on every single circuit you have going out in the yard, take your voltmeter and check that voltage to be sure every fixture on the end of the runs have 11 volts. Step 9, position and aim the fixtures at their targets. So take a moment and kind of look at the fixtures from the front angle and the side angle and make sure they're pointed straight up and down to the target. And from the side, make sure they're pointing at the center of the target. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that they have to go back at night to adjust the fixtures and aim them. And that's certainly not a bad idea. Going back at night is a great idea. But sometimes you don't have time for that. Maybe you don't have the manpower for that. So it's very important that you learn how to aim the fixtures at their target in the daytime so that you don't have to go back at night necessarily. Now, if sometimes it might be necessary to go back at night if I have to, there's some situation where I just can't get it adjusted right, then yeah, you might want to go back. But try your best to adjust the fixtures in the daytime, and that'll save you a lot of time in the evening. Step 10, bury the wire, freshen up the landscaping, and ask your customer to invite their neighbors over to see it. So yeah, by the time you get your wire buried, you want to leave that property in better condition than you found it. The only difference that should be noticed is that there's lights fixtures installed in the property, but the mulch looks nice, the grass looks nice, the plant material looks nice. So everything's better than you found it. And this is one idea that you might want to go back at night. So if you tell your customer to invite their neighbors over to see it, I would go back at night. So if I expect to have 4 or 5 of their neighbors come over and look at it that evening, then I would say, hey, here's my business cards. We can pass them out. And if any of your neighbors want a lighting estimate, I'll be happy to visit with them and give them a lighting estimate and consultation as well. So getting referrals is key. Always ask for referrals and always have your marketing material ready to go when you have another opportunity to sell a professional outdoor lighting system. All right, so now you did it. Everything's installed. So we saw this image early on in this class. And so here we go. You got your lighting transformer plugged in to a GFCI outlet. It's putting out 115 volts from the plug. The transformer is transforming that to 15 volts out to the field wire. You've got no more than 15 volts at your first light because you're using a UL 1838 listed transformer. Your fixtures are connected to the wire using a professional quality permanent connector. And you've checked your last fixture on each circuit to make sure it has at least 11 volts. You use the right wire size because you use the wire sizing chart to determine what size wire you should use for each circuit. So there you go. You've done a great job. This is what your system should look like when you're finished with it. So what tools do you need to be in the landscape lighting business? Well, you definitely need the wire chart. Make sure you have the LED wire chart. You need shovels. You need a measuring wheel, screwdrivers, a good quality pair of wire strippers. You need a drill to anchor the transformer to the wall. You need a good pair of crimping tools to crimp the crimp style connectors. So yeah, not a lot of tools. I bet you guys already have these in your business already. So not a lot of investment to get started. Let's talk a second about estimating and bidding. How much should you charge for your system? Well, this is a estimate worksheet example that kind of brings some things to our attention on what things we should consider when doing our estimate. So we want to add up all our material. So how many up lights, how many wash lights, path lights, down lights, miscellaneous lights, how many bags of connectors, how much wire do we need, how many transformers, timers, what quantity of hardware and miscellaneous items do we need. So we would take all of that, all the material we need for the project, and we come up with the total materials cost. Secondly, we come up with a labor cost. We take our estimated labor hours to do the project. We multiply that times our labor rate, and we come up with a total labor cost. And just getting started, I would say a typical front yard may take you about 6 man-hours, 6 to 7 man-hours. Just getting started, a typical backyard might take you, 8 to 10 man-hours or so. But when you get efficient at it, a front yard should take about 4 man-hours, and a typical backyard should take about 6 man-hours. So that'd be your direct labor costs. Next, add your overhead. So if you take your materials cost and your labor costs, add those together, multiply it times 15%, that should give you a fair number to cover your overhead expense for the time you're doing that project. The next thing you would add on your estimate is a contingency fee. A contingency fee is just a line item you put on your estimate to cover unforeseen events. Like, for example, what if you broke a window at the house? What if it took you longer to go under a sidewalk than you thought? Or what if you got rained out? So, and had to make a second trip. So those unforeseen things that you have no control over, you want to have a contingency fee in there to put in your estimate. So if you take those 4 things, you take your materials cost, your labor, your overhead, and your contingency fee, and you add all those together, you're going to come up with a total cost. This is the cost of your company to actually do the work. So take your total cost divided by 0.65, which gives you a 35% gross margin, and that will give you your total sales price. If you want to know what your actual profit is, take your sales price minus your total cost, and again, that'll give you your net profit on that project. So this is just an example. I'm sure in your business you have methods for doing estimating and bidding, but this just kind of highlights some of the things to consider when you're doing your lighting estimates. All right, so how do you get started? If you've never done outdoor lighting before, or maybe just done a couple jobs, there's really only one way to get started. And first, let me say that I hope this time we spent together talking about professional outdoor lighting has given you enough confidence to tell yourself, I think I could do this. I think I could sell lights. I think I can install lights. I think I understand how this stuff works enough to go out and start marketing myself as a lighting contractor. So, and that's really exactly what you do. So when you wake up tomorrow and go to work, just tell yourself, tell your crews, hey, we are a lighting contractor. Put lighting on your business cards. Put lighting on the side of your truck. Put lighting on your hats, whatever marketing tools you use, on your flyers, on your invoices. But just wake up tomorrow and say, I'm a lighting contractor. And then go tell your customers, every customer you see, everyone you're doing work for, whether you're doing lawn maintenance or hardscape or landscaping, irrigation, whatever type of project you're on right now, tell that client that you also do professional outdoor lighting. And you'll be surprised how many people say, oh, I didn't know that. What would you do at my house? So take advantage of the time we spent together today learning about lighting, and go out there and be bold and sell some lights. And lastly, run your lighting business with the 4 P's. The first P is passion. And after you've done 1 or 2 lighting jobs and you begin to see what you can create with light and how happy it makes your customer, you're gonna have some passion for lighting. So the more passion you have, the more passion your customer will have, the more passion and enthusiasm your customer will have about your vision for lighting up their property. The second is your presentation. Be enthusiastic during your presentation. Don't forget to talk about the features of their property and say, that would look great with some light on it. Get them excited by getting involved in the things they love about their own house. The third P is power. Your power is your knowledge. Your knowledge on how to wire a transformer, your knowledge on how to wire a lighting circuit, your power of knowing that you have to have 11 to 15 volts at every fixture, the power of knowing you have to use a permanent waterproof quality wire connector. That power is going to help you describe to your client how your system is going to last a lifetime. And I don't recommend you offer a lifetime warranty, but your knowledge of your product that you're installing, your quality of workmanship is going to enhance the value and the lifetime longevity of the system. So make sure your client knows that you're installing a quality lifetime system. And the last P, perfection. Your perfection is doing everything right the first time, using the techniques we've talked about in this class on every project to make sure you have the right wire size, the right voltage, that the LED lamps are burning are operating like they're supposed to be operating within the right voltage, and knowing that you're using the right timing device. So just making that system a good quality system is your perfection. So thank you very much. I really, really appreciate you joining me for this video class on professional outdoor lighting. I hope it's helped you. I hope it's encouraged you. I hope that you'll have great success in selling professional outdoor lighting. So please call us anytime at Heritage, call any of our family of companies. If you need help doing an estimate, we'll go out there to the job and help you estimate it. If you need help with a specification, we'll be happy to help you figure out what products to specify on your design. And just know we're always here to help you, and no matter what your situation is, just reach out to us, and we're glad to be here. So again, thank you for joining me in this video class on professional outdoor lighting. We're wishing you the best. Thank you very much.